Welcome to my first attempt to show how to fix arcade games. This is my first attempt to do this live or on video, and we're going to fix a Konami Juno First game.
Today I'm going to try something new. I'm going to actually try to repair a board while videotaping it, which is going to be hard because I only have one hand to hold the camera, but well, we'll figure out something. So what I got here is I got a Konami Juno First board. That is, the customer said that it would go in and out. It would show something and then the screen would disappear and show something. When I initially plugged it in, it actually showed something and then the screen disappeared. Now it's not showing anything. So the first thing I'm going to check is the I'm going to check what's called the sync circuit. If I don't get a sync on my monitor, that usually means the sync signal is not getting to the game. So I want to actually see that I have a valid sync signal coming off the board. So we'll go ahead and do that. So the first thing you have to do is hook up your scope. And when you hook up a scope, that's my scope there, you have a probe. And you'll see this little dongle coming off of one of them. That's your ground. You gotta hook this to something that has at ground potential on the logic board. So this right here, this right here is a this is a crystal, and this little metal retainer is actually at ground potential. So we'll use that. And now I'm going to look at the CPU clock frequency, which is this is a Z80 on this board, and it's pin 6 on the Z80, the CPU clock. This is the Z80 right here. I don't know why Konami scratches everything out on their chips. So we'll do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you see I got a nice clean signal at about 1.8 megahertz. Now that we had that signal, I got to actually look at the sync signal, because that's what's causing the monitor not to show up. And so we do have a CPU signal, which is good. Let's see what's up with the sync signal now. You know what? I should get out the schematics of this board and find out where the sync signal is coming from. You could patch it in. Just it's this white wire, grayish white wire, and the jam adapter, but it's underneath, so it's going to be hard to get at. So let me pull up the schematics and figure out where the sync signal is on this board.
So after searching through the schematics, which are kind of annoying because they're real cut up on this, they're like cut up in the manual, but they are in the manual. Searching through the schematics, we should find, here it is, that the sync signal over here is B2 pin 5. This is the output sync signal. And the input is 15. But I determined, I followed that through, and that actually goes to the bottommost pin, or fifth from the bottom on the game board. So we'll test it there, and then we'll follow it back.
So I did figure out that this pin right here, and 5 from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a sync signal. And you see we got nothing, which explains that. Now this comes out actually, so we have to trace this backwards. And what this does is this comes out at B, which chip was that? This comes out over here on the schematic at B2 pin 5, and it's just a buffer. Pin 15 feeds it. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so we very precociously have, this is horrible, this game flipped over. B5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it is high. And I said, let's make sure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's high. Let's make sure that since that's the output, let's see what feeds it. It's pin 15. So we always trace backwards. Well, you can trace forwards too. It depends. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If I did my math right here, this should be pin 15. And it is also high. So we got to back trace even more in the schematics to figure out what creates that.
So it ends up, this board was just too difficult to film with one hand on the video, and the two board ribbon cable connection. It's just too hard to actually work with to easily videotape. Next time, maybe I'll try an Atari board. Those are great, laid out greatly. But ends up that when poking around, I found that sometimes the signal will come back, and tracing back, ultimately I got back to this chip 08, or I'm sorry, an EF13, a custom chip 082, um, and sync signal was pin 17 there. And I noticed if I moved things around and all that, it would come back. And ultimately, I replaced the socket, and then everything was good again. Um, which was weird because the socket actually looked really good. It looked tight and it looked clean, but replacing the socket, boom, everything worked great again. But the point is, I did trace it back and trace back the output where it's generated here to 82, and then it goes to, I'm sorry, EF13, and then it goes to that buffer. And when I looked, I didn't have any output on 82. I'm sorry, at pin 16, it's 17. So I looked at the inputs, and as I was poking around, the inputs were dead, and then they would come alive as I moved it. And so that was that. Um, Next time, hopefully, we'll do a little better um, walk through. I'll use maybe an Atari board because those are really easy. They got test points everywhere. It's one single board. It's very easy to work with rather than flipping this board around and trying to hold a camera. I also got to get a camera that is still that I don't have to hold. But anyway, that's another day. So here's the game working. Once I replace the socket, you see everything's happy. Game has consistent video. Sound is actually intermittent, and so I have to look into that, but I'm not going to videotape that because this board is too difficult to videotape and work with one hand. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it.